Freedom is important to all of us. As someone who spent many years making speeches, I've quoted many definitions of freedom, some very moving and eloquent. But I've always liked George Orwell's blunt and unadorned statement. He said freedom is the right to say no. There's something kind of happily rebellious about that definition.
What you have to say counts on the platform.
Yes, it's time for Free Speech Fridays, when we get two people who are not afraid to speak their mind. Free Speech Fridays brought to you by the Free Speech Union, fsu.nz, the champions of free speech in New Zealand. Very happy to welcome Christine Rankin. G'day, Christine. How are you?
Good morning. I'm very well, thank you.
And my mate Boyce, Alistair Boyce. G'day, Boyce.
G'day, how are you? Hello, Christine.
Hello, Alistair. Lovely to meet you.
You too. I've long been an admirer of yours, even if it's been in secret.
Oh, get a room.
Thank you.
Get a room, you two. All right. Look, this wasn't on the list, but boy, have we been happy to talk about it this morning. This spat that's broken out between David Seymour and Winston Peters over the regulatory standards bill. And everyone is kind of getting that, you know, with less than a year go to an election, the kids aren't behaving very well in the back of the car at present. Christine, do you think voters, a certain type of voter, tosses up between Seymour and Peters? Do you think they compete with each other, ACT and New Zealand First?
I don't. I think there have been times when that's the case. I actually think Winston has claimed his voters very well in the last 2 years. He's made them his own. He's done what they've expected him to do and don't feel that anyone else has done it. And I think this is a conservative, older group of people. He's really claimed them back. Yeah. So, no, I don't think anymore that they're going to be choosing
then
between
why did
the
he
two. I
pick
think
a
he's moved
fight?
ahead.
Why did he pick a fight with David Seymour? And I've got to say, David Seymour's comeback, he's thinking of going with Labor again, clearly has worked. Clearly has worked.
Yeah, it's worked with the media who've got nothing better to do. Those young journalists, I really believe that. They're making something out of nothing. I listened to Winston this morning, and I'm not one of his voters, by the way, or I never have been, but who knows in the future. But this morning I heard him talk, and it was really genuine. And he said, I do not trust the leader of the Labor Party. I'm telling you now, he stabbed me in the back 1 million times. I am not headed in this direction. Okay. And I believe him.
Okay, so Boyce,
it's been constructed.
Yeah. Boyce, David Seymour actually, though, has pushed Winston and raised the issue of Winston's trustworthiness because Winston had to go on the regulatory standards bill, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's political brinkmanship. They're campaigning already. Both are in campaign mode. Lovely to watch. Great entertainment. I don't believe Winston. I absolutely agree with Christine about Chippy Hipkins. Winston won't go near him with a barge pole. If the country is totally in the shit, Winston will save the day. David Seymour loses votes to Winston, so David Seymour's going to bring this up as a point to try and garner votes back in relation to any collusion with Labor from Winston. So it's brinkmanship, and good on them. I don't know how much it'll cost either of them. I think they're just spreading votes between the two parties and getting their houses in order. So Winston's point is a big one. He's pro-democracy on this one, and I go along with your commentary earlier today in regard to it's more regulation. We've got more bureaucrats.
And we don't need, last thing we bloody need is more bureaucrats, isn't it?
So that's the frustration. I can see what Seymour's trying to do with his bill, and I sort of go along with that, and there's a lot of business that does go along with that, but the anti-democratic bureaucracy frustrates the living daylights out of me.
All right. Look, here is a scenario I also, and if you've been listening, and good on you, Boyce, for briefing yourself. What about the scenario where Labor has a choice to form a government with the Greens and the Maori Party or New Zealand First? Would you forgive Winston for going with Labor under those circumstances to ameliorate what would otherwise be a loopy left-wing government, Christine?
Well, I would much rather Winston was in there as the handbrake he has previously been on their absolute madness. But, oh, please, God, we don't get into that situation. I do not believe we're going to. Look, New Zealanders have got to be more intelligent. It was only a couple of years ago they destroyed the country. Surely we're not going to do that again already.
Yeah. Boyce, would you forgive him under those circumstances?
There's only one circumstance he can get away with that. He cannot do what he did again, and that happened in 2017. That cost him a whole term. And this is his legacy. Like, he's here to save the nation. He seriously is. And I wouldn't rule out him being the next Prime Minister of New Zealand, by the way. The only way that he could be forgiven for doing that is if you could not form a centre-right coalition under any circumstances, and then he needs to go and be the handbrake that Christine said.
I wonder if Labor wouldn't rather go with National under those circumstances as well, and I'm thinking that's an increasing possibility.
Well, I agree. I agree.
Yeah. Guys, I couldn't understand, Christine, why Winston raised this. He's had such a good week. The new ferries announcement, despite the best efforts of our bent mainstream news media, it looks like he kind of sorted out that deal. He saved us some money. We've got a far more reasonable and achievable proposal that costs us about $2 billion. And I've just talked to the Mayor of the Marlborough District Council. She's bloody happy with it. Why couldn't he just... And look, you know, Nikki No Boats, the media and the left are trying to say this is a great scandal. It seems to me, Christine, a quite pragmatic solution.
I think he's done really, really well. And this is what he keeps doing. He is delivering in a way that people want delivery. I actually think the coalition government is. There's a lot of great things that have happened in the last couple of years, but the thing that everyone wants, which is the economy to be fantastic, has not happened as quickly. But he delivers time and time and time again. This is a good deal. This is great.
Yeah. Boyce?
Yeah, he's come through. He's put New Zealand first. He was involved in the start-up, and then Labor, who refused to engage in economic management, totally cocked up the ferries and the terminals and everything else, and now he's come back to save the day. In the meantime, Nicola Willis, her option was to wash her hands of it, but you can't get out. Once you're in a deal, you've got to see a deal through in some manner. Yeah. And Winston's the one to do that. He is, next to Trump, probably the art of the deal is his.
I love it. It's so good.
Okay, Boyce, look, just talking, as I got you there, and I know you're a Wellingtonian and you're vitally interested in what's happening in Wellington. On a smaller scale, or maybe actually a bigger scale, we look at Wellington's infrastructure. Oh, by the way, aren't you must be gutted that Tory Whanau is off to Melbourne.
It's probably the best place for her. Didn't Rob Muldoon have a slant on that sort of immigration back and forth?
Okay. How did you feel about the $37,000 swearing-in party at Puberty and Marae for Andrew Little?
Yeah, well, it's 4 times more annoying than the painting fiasco. You know, like it's Tory Whanau at her finest. It's the narcissistic former mayor having her last hurrah at the ratepayers' expense.
I suspect she'll want to take the painting with her, and I'd be quite happy for that to happen. But, Boyce, I want to talk about infrastructure. Plans unveiled for the second Mount Vic tunnel. The Golden Mile looks like it's dead. Maybe we need Winston to sort out some major infrastructure projects in Wellington.
Yeah, I'd prefer Winston to be doing this. I can't see... Wellington's on the decline population-wise. It's definitely on the decline economically. This won't fix this second tunnel. There's other... Until you fix the traffic flows through the CBD... I can just see, I don't think it's going to relieve congestion. You've got to do a whole lot of other stuff.
There is no congestion in Wellington, Boyce.
There is on the weekends. It's terrible.
Well, that's all the silly people taking their poor kids to Saturday sport, isn't it?
Well, no, it's how the design of the city. They no longer, on the hierarchy of priorities at Wellington City Council, They presumably put pedestrians first, which I don't think is the case, then cyclists, and way down the bottom is cars. So their whole design and everything they do and go about works in Wellington has cars as the least priority. That translates to traffic congestion. Until you sort out Wellington City Council with its internal transport design and delivery, all the tunnels in the world will not help because they all come into a basin surrounded by hills in front of a harbour. You've got to translate the traffic flow through.
I get you. A tunnel. Underneath the ground, not through a hill. Christine,
well, we can't afford it.
It's
funny. Ridiculous. We've got an economy in decline.
Yeah.
That's not going to save the economy.
Yeah.
There's other fundamentals to do first. So Winston's the man. Like he'll rationalise that out. I think Chris Bishop's highfalutin transport ideas are just out of control.
All right. Christine, it's funny. I look at Wellington as someone who lives here, but then I look to somewhere like Taupo and that part of the country. You don't seem to have the same controversies. You're growing. You've got new roading every time I'm there, and I get up there relatively often, or to the southern end of the lake. How is it that our capital city gets stuck and other parts of the country seem to be growing like topsy?
You know, I spend quite a lot of time in Wellington because Kim and I have a lot of family in Wellington, kids and grandkids and everything. And, you know, Wellington has isolated itself out from the rest of the country as far as I'm concerned. They think differently, they act differently. You go there and they're completely out of touch with what's going on in the rest of the world. They're so politically correct that they choke themselves. You know, I still get a lot of work on the speaking circuit. I speak all over the country. I never get a job in Wellington. And why is that? Because they are so left, they couldn't bear to listen to what I have to say. And everywhere, you know, my children, if you say anything that's outside the very, very trendy view of the whole of Wellington, I can be in my son's backyard and make a loud comment, and you'll go, oh, for God's sake, Mum, don't say that. You know, my neighbour works in the Prime Minister's office. I've got this going on here. You can't be saying things like that.
Yeah.
They are completely different than the rest of the country. They're out of touch.
Like a lot of school boards,
view.
well, not the majority of school boards, there is this campaign going on, guys, after David Seymour, tick to him, gets, or the government removes the requirements of school boards to be committed to implementing the Treaty of Waitangi, which was always BS. They don't have to anymore, but some uppity Māori lawyer lady has got a whole lot of woke school boards to publish the same form letter saying we're still committed to the Treaty of Waitangi. It's even so bad that my alma mater, Nelson College, the oldest secondary school in New Zealand, has put out one of these silly letters. Firstly, do you think, Alistair, anyone bloody cares if your school board's woke or not?
Well, I don't really want a woke school board. But my daughter's now 24, so I'm out of that. I think a lot of parents do really care about woke school boards and these culture issues and co-governance and democracy being put.
But this is like a big middle finger, isn't it, to the government? It's like the woke saying we're going to go down screaming our diversity message from the rooftops, and we don't care what middle New Zealand thinks.
That's what they're doing.
Yeah. Christine?
Yeah. No, that is what they're doing. And I don't think school boards, and, you know, often the point is made that they are literally volunteers. I don't think they should have that responsibility anyway. And when they do, you get the people who are obsessed with the whole thing.
Well, the problem
you get an outcome that you don't want.
Politicised teacher unions and organisations are acting politically, and our kids shouldn't be political footballs, should they?
No. Absolutely
like sports teams.
All right, let us take the break and then we'll come back. We'll talk puberty blockers.
Tired of paying full price for fabulous fashion? Then stop driving by and start stepping into I Love Labels. I Love Labels and Raumati Village is your Kapiti Coast secret for quality clothing, shoes and accessories with designer labels for less. New summer stock arriving daily. Why pay full price for designer style when you can save a bundle? I Love Labels is Kapiti's favourite consignment store. Designer labels for less in Raumati Village. Come and see why we love labels and why you will too.
Gotta love summers under the Sunview pergola, eh? Pergola?
Good man. And yes, you do. Shade and UV protection where and when you need it, so you can always enjoy your outdoor living space. With Sunview, you can see the difference. And they supply and install from Taupo to North Auckland and everywhere in between. To see how Sunview outdoor blinds and other outdoor living designs can make your summers better, visit sunview.co.nz and book a free measuring quote.
Where do you keep all your garden stuff? Your lawnmower, your tools, the bags and boxes of this and that, the stuff you don't want your other half to know about. Kiwi Garden Sheds have the perfect place. Our sheds are top quality, made in New Zealand sheds. Steel sheds, timber sheds, you can even have one custom designed. Great prices too, sent directly from the factory to you with a full manufacturer's warranty. Check out the full range at kiwigardensheds.co.nz. Kiwi Garden Sheds, they've got you covered.
Hustler, producing the world's first and best zero-turn ride-on mower. This is Hustler Country, a place where people earn their keep and make an honest living, a place where people work hard and expect their equipment to work even harder. Hustler has a deep history of agriculture and engineering, so if you need strong, rugged, robust and functional, then you want a Hustler ride-on. Visit your local Hustler dealer today. Steelford.co.nz, another Steelford brand.
Tired of too many plastic bottles and cleaning products that don't cut the mustard? Output Envy has the answer with our huge dishwashing soap block. The No-Tox Life dish block has 638 grams of concentrated cleaning, so you only use what you need. All natural, plant-based, fragrance-free, septic tank friendly, and it cleans absolutely everything from greasy pots to sticky fingerprints. Plus, the perfect choice for people who suffer skin irritations. Order your huge dish block today at outputenvy.com and be the envy of your neighbours.
Russell, how are you?
Hi, Sean. I wanted just to give you a shout out about Craig and Maharaja Tours.
Yeah.
It's just the most amazing trip, and Craig is such a great host. Honestly, he took all the trouble out of that tour. We just basically turned up and enjoyed the whole place, and it was brilliant.
That was Russell's unsolicited endorsement of Maharaja Tours. For details of my tours, visit www.maharajatours.co.nz.
Plunket Unchained on the platform.
And it is Free Speech Fridays, brought to you by the Free Speech Union, the champions of free speech in New Zealand. With us this morning, Alistair Boyce, and Christine Rankin, and we're having a good old yarn. Guys, the government, after 18 months of inaction, 18 months of delay by self-interested health bureaucrats, has finally said there will be no new prescriptions for puberty blockers to children to treat gender dysphoria. There are other legitimate reasons for using puberty blockers, endometriosis being one of the conditions that treated with it. I think 200 or 300 kids already on it. Apparently that continues. But puberty blockers as a therapy or treatment for gender dysphoria, the bus has stopped at the station and it's not going anywhere. The train stopped. Christine, firstly, at a very basic level, do you think that's a good decision?
Absolutely. This is one of those things that's building and building and building that the government are doing that is very courageous when you look at the last lot and this is child abuse. And any parent who thinks this is okay has got to be crazy. There's lots of examples now of kids that this has happened to who are having terrible problems where they say there are no side effects and really, really regret it. And I heard some weird woman say yesterday, just in passing as I turned on a radio somewhere, gender is a social construct. Gender is a social construct. The world is completely mad. This is the best gift we've given our children in a long time.
Boise?
I couldn't agree more with Christine. Simeon Brown has come to the party when others didn't have the courage. It's taken too long. New Zealand First has led the way on this and pushed it hard for it, and they've got it through.
Yeah,
and
interesting,
now we've just got to
Alistair.
stay resolute.
Yeah, interesting on that originally quite liberal on this act seemed to have joined the party, as it were, the anti-puberty blockade party, but it took them a while to cast off their woke tendencies as regards this, didn't it?
Well, everyone got fooled from lack of information and the fact that you weren't allowed to talk about it. We were all cancelled out of the conversation, and then when you do try and work out what's going on, you're not allowed to have an opinion unless you're actually transgender or of the rainbow community, as they call it. But I think there's a big... I think they're quite disparate now. I think they're not a unified community like they make out. So we were blindsided, and I think ACT were blindsided at the start, and then they got themselves stuck in a hole.
Well, I must say it's an issue that the platform has never been afraid to cover, despite some pretty intensive trolling and negative feedback. I looked at from the time I had to look at it, mainstream media coverage of this issue in the last couple of days, though, has been remarkable. It has been downplayed, and experts, huge numbers of experts who say this is all politics and culture war, have been trotted out. And really that's part of the problem, why it has taken so long, Christine. We have a mainstream media that will not meaningfully engage on these issues.
Oh, no, and that's just one example of the things that they don't cover. It's now getting to be really embarrassing when you look at the things that they ignore or run a particular line on. They make the news. They don't react to what's happening out there. And, that's why what you're doing is just so important to the country, and I really mean that. It's not happening in very many places. There's just walls around everything, and that's how people's beliefs are being formed. If you're not a thinking person, and a lot of people's lives are so busy, they don't take time to think about the big picture, we're in a hell of a lot of trouble when you look at this stuff.
Well, I must admit, I'm going to have Sue Bagshaw, one of the experts that was on all across the media yesterday. Dame Sue Bagshaw joins me to discuss this after 9 o'clock this morning, and good on her for doing that. Boise, I see a state-funded program, I think made by some Maori production company for the Herald or NZME, called The Elephant in the Room. It decided to take on the issue of what is a woman in this week's episode. Elephant in the Room, we are told by all the publicity blurb guys, discusses the issues New Zealanders are too afraid to discuss. The hilarious thing was they get into this issue and then they put it online and turn the comments off because they can't risk anyone having a bloody opinion on it and actually discussing it.
They've obviously got the rainbow tick as well, have they?
Yeah. Everyone's got the rainbow tick.
You can't report on this effectively if you're in a rainbow tick organisation.
No.
You can't have your own opinion if you're in a rainbow tick organisation. So it's discounted from the start.
You'd be so pleased to know that New Zealand Rugby is rainbow ticked, and I wondered if you would apply for that job as their diversity and safety officer, Alistair, that I read out yesterday, that job description.
Yeah, well, I might give it a bit of a shake-up the wrong way.
You'd be great. You'd be great.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way, I'd like to see a shake-up in the NZRFU and get them focused on winning rugby again.
Yeah. Now, I do have to say, guys, I do have now one cheap trick in journalism. It's called asking someone what is a woman. And the Opportunity Party, is it now called, not the Opportunities Party. Their new leader, Keeley Wong, came on my program earlier this week, and I asked her that simple question, and she was going okay. She said an adult human female, or someone who's born a woman, or someone who has certain things done to them and decides that they are a woman and can become a woman. It's not like you're going to be surprised, Christine, that I asked the question, but surely every politician has now figured out how to answer it.
Well, obviously she is inexperienced, and perhaps we've got to forgive her for that. But no, I'm sorry. There's the signal of where that party is at, if that's their leader's view. How very sad.
Yeah, and it did feel, I note she'd worked for a long time for an outfit that was one of the first to be rainbow ticked in New Zealand. And it does seem to me, and I'm not being mean to her personally, we've got a whole generation of people who have been brought up not because they believe this rubbish, because they have just lived in a world where you have to or you don't get ahead. It's kind of like an alternate reality, Alistair.
Yeah, no, it is, and you can't deal into government sectors or within government sectors without displaying the appropriate, according to them, attitudes and morals and beliefs that they conduct for you, and it's incredibly frustrating to deal with, especially on a daily basis.
Do you have this in Taupo, Christine?
Yes, absolutely. I think the whole country has this in organisations and public service organisations. I mean, you wouldn't survive if you had another opinion that you shared. So, and I think that's true of the entire country. You want a job in one of those organisations, you've got to utterly and absolutely play the game, or you wouldn't survive. And for some people, that's the only really good job available around them, so they're going to do it. We are not encouraging people to think and speak out. Yeah. We're encouraging...
But look, I'm also going to play devil's advocate. This is always true. There's always some trend in management at the conference and the lanyard wearing. There's always someone on the lam in an organisation with the latest trend. I mean, I think probably in your time, you know, when you were the big CEO and everything, it was women's rights, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, and you only have to look at what happened to me. I mean, I was part of a revolution, an amazing revolution with incredible results. We were not accepted because that was too fast and too dangerous for the public sector, when it actually, we were considered throughout the world the best in the world in the delivery. People came from all over the world to see what we'd done. Totally unacceptable, and they made sure they completely eradicated us.
Yeah, you did. You got hard done by. Anything else, guys? Alistair, anything else you want to raise that's got you going this week?
Oh, I've been enjoying the commentary on the platform for the last few weeks. I think you've kept ahead and abreast of all the most important topics and debates.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Long way at last.
Yeah, we're cracking on. Christine, anything else that has particularly outraged you? I will mention one story, Christine. I came across a story of a guy and his partner who had lied to get visas and residency in New Zealand, said they were from Hungary and they weren't. Guess what we did to them? We gave him 2 years in prison at $100,000 a year, and she got an ankle bracelet. We did not deport them.
Oh, my God. I hadn't heard about that, but there are so many things to be outraged about, aren't there?
It's tiring, isn't it?
Sometimes I ignore that, and sometimes you've just got to switch off so that you don't. This week, I can honestly say I've felt the change out there, and I think we're going to feel and see more and more of it. I think things are finally starting to turn a corner, and my little town shows that. You know, we'd really suffered here economically, and I have a hospice shop. It makes a hell of a lot of money. We had dropped for the first time ever in the 9 years we've been open. We're right back up again.
Maybe there is green shoots. Maybe wouldn't that be nice? And maybe the culture war is finally being won. That was a great session. You two get on very well. Thank you very much for your time this morning. Christine Rankin and Alistair Boyce, Free Speech Fridays. And Free Speech Fridays is brought to you by the Free Speech Union. They are the champions of free speech in New Zealand. They've been a great help to me in my battle with the BSA and still are being. And visit them, fsu.nz. Find out how you can help preserve others' free speech, promote free speech, and make sure that you can speak freely in our wonderful little country.